Well, Angela, thank you so much for agreeing to come and share with us from the Community and Crime Prevention Branch. And that branch is responsible for the planning and implementation of informational and educational presentations and activities that are focused on the safety and well-being of the community. Crime prevention requires the efforts of law enforcement agencies, service providers, institutions such as schools, families, individuals, all together to address the root cause of these scams. So I know everybody has had some interaction with somebody, hopefully not yourself, who has either been scammed or managed to notice one before it harmed them. Here at the Caregiver Foundation, we work with so many seniors who have been victims and are now almost destitute because someone with no moral standing at all has helped themselves to everything that senior had. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Angela. And Angela, I'm going to try your last name and see if I can get it all put together right. So, Kaiwikuamoohoihua. I got it?
Very good. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I get an A today. But we're so glad that you could join us, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. That was a nice introduction. Aloha, my name is Angela Kaiwikuamoohoihua. I work at the Department of the Attorney General in the Crime Prevention Justice Assistance Division. I fall within the Community and Crime Prevention Branch, and I'm a Community and Crime Prevention Specialist. So that's a long explanation, but I really enjoy my work, and I look forward to today's presentation. So I guess I will begin with sharing the presentation. Today I'll be presenting on how to protect yourself and your wealth from fraud and identity theft. And this presentation, of course, is in partnership with our Honolulu Police Department. So just wanted to share that. So thank you again for attending. So we begin first with the basic facts of fraud. Just to give you guys a heads up as to where Hawaii stands currently. In 2022, we lost about $37.9 million from fraud. And so this is definitely something that a lot of our local people need to be aware of. Also, 11,000, just over 11,000 people or Hawaii residents reported that they were victims. The number of victims had slightly gone down from previous years, which means that more money is being frauded out of pocket by each of our residents. I also thought it was important to share with you guys how, the trends have been going within the last few years. And you can see pre-COVID or 2017, we were losing 2.9 million, and that was a lot at that time. And what's interesting is you see that big jump between 2019 and 2020. In 2019, we were losing 6.1 million. And then in 2020, the year of COVID, it really jumped to $15.6 million. And so basically crimes have really made that change from people doing things, via the regular mail, and they've definitely pushed more of the frauds online. And so, and sadly, it hasn't been improving. And so it's important for all of us, I guess, to continue to learn and to continue to stay on top of, what is the latest fraud. Of course, us, currently we're in the holiday season. And so that's already, something that we all need to be careful about. So just going over the top 10 frauds. So again, this is from last year. And then once this year is complete, then our Federal Trade Commission will have the numbers for this year. But I really appreciate how they provide the data by state, because how we are here in Hawaii can be very different from how things are in the mainland or in comparison to other states. So locally, what we learned is imposter scams have still continued to top the charts. A lot of people, posing as other agencies or other law enforcement, or maybe electric, Hawaiian Hiko or Spectrum, coming over to your home and doing upgrades or updating, and they end up being fraudsters. And then, of course, after that, we still have identity theft. That one hasn't disappeared. It's still definitely within the top 5. Online shopping, but that kind of, that makes sense. More people are online, so of course we're going to see more frauds happening with online shopping. Credit bureaus, because everyone has gone digital. Even though there's the ease of using your card, there's also the ease for the hackers to get your information. Then we have bank and lenders. So we have, just paperwork that's being processed and you think it's within a bank or a lender, and somehow people are gathering personal information off of those forms. Prizes and sweepstakes. This one is a hard one because culturally, so many people in Hawaii want the winner win a chicken dinner. They want to win big and just enjoy. We have a lot of fans of the Ninth Island. But it makes us vulnerable to these types of frauds. Of course, internet services. Someone can say that they see something terrible happening. They need to repair your computer, and they end up pulling off your personal information. I guess we had some frauds that were auto-related. Maybe they were overcharging, some investment related, and then of course healthcare. So we're starting to also hear a lot of effort to help people kind of dodge that one as well. Imposter scam. So some of you look at that image on the top right and think Elvis Presley. And some of you look at that image and think Bruno Mars. But who is it? That's just sort of the thing with imposter scam, is that it's someone pretending to be a trusted person, and we would hope either of those two, but it probably isn't, to get you to send money or give personal information. So an example would be a scammer poses as a friend or a relative with an emergency need for money. I think you guys may have heard about that. That was called the grandparent scam. Another one is a scammer poses as a romantic interest. So if you have a chance, I suggest you watch Catfish, because that is so catfish. And, we have a lot of our kupuna, a lot of our Hawaii folks yearning for romance. And sadly, they come across someone online and they trust this person, but their intent, the scammer on the other end, is just to obtain money. Or if you watch Catfish, sometimes it's Chipotle or Panera, and the person will keep scamming the individual because they're still getting their Chipotle and they're still getting their Panera. They're not even here, they're on the mainland somewhere. Scammers claim to be a computer technician. So that one kind of came and went, but I would still sort of stay cautious of that because our world has become very digital. And then of course, scammer claims to be an affiliate with a private entity. So again, another form of imposter scam. I thought it'd be fun to incorporate the origami. I don't know, just a local touch, Okay, identity theft. So, for my work, I'm just constantly learning and constantly researching and just trying to stay with the trends. So, this is, just things that I've come across in my work. But yeah, it occurs when your personal information is used to commit certain crimes, including theft, fraud, forgery. Of course, it's also a crime to possess confidential personal information of another person without their authorization. So this is just, it's a crime in itself, and it's also an umbrella of a ton of frauds and scams. So of course, one example would be government documents. Someone misuses your identity and it places your tax return in a fraudulent situation. So one example would be a scammer uses your social security number to apply for a job. or they report their income to the IRS using your social security number, and then they collect your return. Another example would be scammer sends you an email that claims to be from the IRS, so they kind of make it seem like you're doing something terrible or you need to address something immediately, and then that's how they obtain your personal information. And then, of course, here, scammer uses your social security number to file for a tax. Oh, that's the tax refund. Yeah. So I've actually heard of that one. We had a kind of a well-known wealthy individual here in Hawaii, and a scammer had used her social security information and filed the taxes and collected her refund. Yeah, it was really bad, but at the same time, because she was such a well-known person, they also did catch that person very quickly. Oh, this is the Dirty Dozen tax scams list. So I guess each year the IRS, sometimes they would come out with this Dirty Dozen, although I hadn't really seen it come out since COVID, but I thought it was fun because they just kind of really elaborated on some of the trending frauds. But I'll try to stay on top of it. If I do see another Dirty Dozen come back out, I can forward that to you folks. So warning signs, you receive a request to wire money, you receive a letter or email promising vast sums of money. If a buyer can't show up in person with cash or asks if they can send an electronic payment or wire transfer, so these kind of things, those are all the red flags. And then, of course, we do have the IRS. They have a unit on identity protection. And so that's the number there. Another thing is, for identity theft, you could definitely make a police report. And then after you get a report number, you may want to also fill out an affidavit form with the FTC. I know I have IRS there, but they both work side and side. And then that kind of helps create the data that we get every year. Benefits fraud. This one is really interesting. So we've had, some situations of people misusing benefits. Of course, here I have unemployment. Scammer uses social security number, birthday to file fraudulent claim for unemployment, but you're still employed. So there's a lot of these really mean things kind of going on. Another thing, and I think a lot of local people know about this, is the EBT cards. So, and what I'm hearing is that the law enforcement are probably going to crack down more on it, but people are, they qualify for EBT and they get food assistance. And what they do is they offer to buy your food, and in return, you would give them that amount, like half of that amount in cash. And so we seem to be seeing a huge trend of a lot of local people misusing their food benefits. And so I hope that they kind of crack down more on that, because that's not really good. It's all of us who work hard and pay our taxes to help other people, and to see them misuse it so freely, it's just not a good thing. Another one I have here, scammer pretends to be your state unemployment agency. So they're pretending they reach out to you, and then they say money was sent to you by mistake. But this is also known as a money mule scam. So that's kind of a newer one that's kind of came about, I guess, from COVID to now, with people trying to slowly get back to being, functional and normal again. Oh, sorry. Did I press the wrong button? Okay, here we are. Okay, so credit card fraud. Someone uses your credit card or opens a new credit card with your personal information to rack up charges. So an example, scammer goes through your trash for discarded bill statements, and they get your information to your bank account or your credit card accounts. There's also the hacking. They kind of jump in on the transaction. You click on a link to pay for something, but it actually goes to a different site. And then they're able to gather your credit card number along with your the 3-digit number, the security code. And then of course another example, of course, the whole skimming thing, or people walk around with those skimmers and then they could just walk past you and either get your number with this device, or they actually skim it through a device and it records the information from your credit card. And then they basically copy it onto any card with a magnetic strip, and then they can use it as if it was a credit card. So this one is actually constantly evolving, and they just keep getting better at it. So warning signs: unusual card purchases on your bank statement, collection calls about accounts you've never opened, unfamiliar account appears on your credit report, you stop receiving credit card statements in the mail. So maybe they may have rerouted the mail. So instead of, it's for prevention, use a credit card instead of your debit card. So it depends on what you do, but it's just good to like know which card is for these type of purchases and which card is for that. So online, you should avoid using your bank debit card. Never lend your card to anyone. And it's so funny, I put not even your kids. Because like from some of the Kapuno, I learned their kids are probably their worst fraudsters sometimes. They buy. Oh, it's mom and dad's card. I'm just gonna shop away. Put away your cards, receipts, statements, and then of course check your credit report, and then shred statements with personal information. So that kind of stuff is just kind of routine, but very helpful. Phone or utilities fraud. This one is one of my favorites. Someone you don't know starts a utility bill under your name, or calls to persuade you to spend your money, or calls to trick you into sharing your personal information. So sometimes people call this the robocall. Like you get those, oh, your auto registration needs to be renewed. There was that going on at one time. Then I think it evolved into like, oh, are you open to selling your home? That seems to be one that I've kind of been coming across lately. But yeah, it's just constantly changing. And then sometimes they talk to you and they're trying to get you to say the word yes or the word no. And then they sort of use that to confirm that you had purchased something. Like they twist your words around. But for me, like my grandmother, she's originally from Japan. And when she would get these calls that come in, it was so funny because I could sense that they're obviously a fraudster and they're trying to get personal information out of her. But her English is really, really, unless you know her, you can't understand her at all. And so they get so confused that it's just funny, and then they just hang up and she's just like, you know, she has no idea really what had happened, but I'm so thankful because there's no way she would get affected by a phone scam, because of her accent. But it's kind of cool. Let's see. So don't get spoofed. If you think you're being spoofed, this is just a nice handout. Recognize and avoid spoofed calls. So that's another coin term that they use. It's interesting though, like with every fraud and scam, they always have this like kind of fun word to describe it. But there's been so many. I even struggle with keeping up with the slang words. But I definitely try to pay attention to how the scam actually like works, how they fraud you. But yeah. Okay, so warning signs. You receive a call from an unfamiliar number. So that's a easy. Receive a call asking questions to get you to say yes. So that's another trick. So like when I first greet, I usually say like aloha, receive a call pressuring for urgency. That's a tactic that they use. It's like, oh, you got to do it now. Or they get you all worried that something terrible has happened. And like, you gotta fix it now. Receive an unknown utility bill and it's addressed to you. So these are just some basic ways to kind of get a sense that it's a red flag call. Prevention tips, hang up. Yeah, it could be as simple as just hanging up that phone. Contact your phone provider, see if maybe they can block the calls for free. Um, Also know that there's a lot more apps now where the fraudsters can actually change around their numbers. So they could be far and away, and all of a sudden they're calling you with your actual number. Like they have a way of mimicking numbers like that. So it's gotten pretty advanced. So now it's no longer just the unfamiliar numbers, but also that the numbers that seem odd because that's your number. And how can your number be calling you? But yeah, so it's just another ongoing thing. Bank fraud. Someone uses illegal means to access your money or assets from a bank of other financial institutions. An example would be a phony poses as a bank to fraudulently obtain your money. So that's the phishing scam. A thief steals your check and forges your signature to put your cash in their pockets, right? That's another concern. A con man sends you a check for more than what you owe, then they ask you to wire them the extra, or what was overpaid. But they're trying to basically get your bank routing number. So all of that are tactics. So yeah, again, it's very similar to the ID theft with the request to receive wire money. That's sort of questionable. Letter, email promising vast sums of money. And if a buyer can't show up in person with cash, or ask if they can send an electronic payment or wire transfer. So I've come across some seniors that actually do fall into this fraud, and for some reason, they keep doing it. And I often wonder why, why they keep allowing this person to take advantage of them. But at some point, though, they've pulled away from it, and reality sinks in. They got caught up in a fraud, and they're kind of stuck now with not as much money as they once had, but they're able to move forward. Loan or lease fraud. Someone opens up a loan under your name or appears as a legitimate financial establishment and assists with lowering your monthly loan payment. This is so hard because more things have gotten online. And at the same time, a lot of families need this kind of assistance. So I don't know. I think it just helps to maybe go with a company that's more established, and then even if they contact you, you should still reach out and contact them directly. Like you make the initiative for this effort. Like if you see something come in and it seems like a great thing, it's best to not call the number that's on that email or ad, or even the regular something that you received in the regular mail, but maybe just look up the actual agency and then contact them directly if you're needing to lower your monthly loan payments. But yeah, and then of course there's the phantom rentals. So this is like one example of a phantom rental. Like you would see an ad and it'd be like, oh, beautiful Hawaiian tropical rental, and 16 master suites, 10 bathrooms, luxury pool, movie theater, and it's only $2 a day. Contact, sorry, like my Mo Green. But like, what do you guys think? Is this for real? Yeah, if it's too good to be true, it probably is a little bad. It would be awesome if it was. Oh, it'd be awesome. But yeah, it's a scam. Not that this I just kind of created myself, but I just wanted to show an example visually. So warning signs, told you can't see the property in person. That's pretty questionable right there. Asked to send a check payment or wire money in exchange for the keys. That's so not good. Rent cost is much lower than similar properties in the area. I mean, clearly that is not $2 a day. It might be more like $2,000 a day. And then prevention tips: review the lease before making any decisions, check local property records to determine if the contact person is the actual owner or manager of the property, and know that it's safer to pay for a rental by credit card, because there is padding with the credit card if anything goes wrong. versus again, if it's with your debit card, as soon as the money is taken out, it pretty much is gone. So just something to think about. And then we do a lot of presentations in partnership with Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. So they have a unit where you can verify the realtor who's if they're licensed. And so that's the information over there on the slide. Okay, and then here we are, our local mentality of prizes and sweepstakes. Someone sends a mail, email, or calls you, congratulations, you've won a prize. Sweepstakes, lottery, but there is a fee. So scammer pretends to be a publisher's clearinghouse. You won $1 million, but you think about it, when did you sign up for it? Because you probably didn't. Scammer sends you a letter, you won the lottery. I don't think we allow that here in our state. Scammer sends an unknown family member has passed away and your name was in their will. You get to claim their inheritance, but you need to fly to Nigeria. All these things, all these scenarios. I've actually met people that have been hit with those frauds. So this is basically how you can address it if you actually fall victim. Basically, you can place a 90-day fraud alert on your credit file. And so you would have to contact one of the credit bureaus. Then you want to close the account, so that it doesn't continue to be tampered with. And then, of course, you will need to file a police report because you want to have record that this incident did occur. And then hold on to it, because once you have that, you can get a lot more assistance. And of course, when everything is kind of done and everything's been addressed, and we always encourage people to complete the affidavit with FTC so that it's in the data. So I have an auntie, and she got one of those calls where she won $1 million, and they said, oh, but there's a fee. It's you got to pay $125 for us to process it, and then we'll send you the money. And my sassy auntie, she was like, she told them, you know what? How about this? I got a good idea. How about this? You get that $1 million and you minus out the $125 and just send me the rest. And then boom, they hung up just like that, but that's my auntie. She's so funny. When she told me that, I was like, oh, that's so clever. That's so clever. But yeah, so all of this within our Hawaii revised statutes is considered personal information. So it's our name, our home address, our phone number, our email, our driver's license, our social security number, who we work for, our passwords, even our mother's maiden name is considered personal information. Our bank account number, depository account, place of employment, employee identification number, employment related information, and then any other name or code to confirm identity. So all of this is actually within our Hawaii state law. And then of course with youth, it's even a photo. So here's another, this is another activity or an activity for you guys. I want to see if you guys can spot the false transaction. You guys, okay. Good. I see some smiles here. Right. So clearly, it's item number 5, funds transfer $7,423.02 for a Jamaican hairspray. So yeah, it's good to obviously the hairspray should not cost that much. But yeah, it's just making sure that whatever we see on our statements, or if you guys use the app on your cell phone, just review it every so often and make sure everything lines up correctly. Starbucks 563. That's not bad. Okay. In fact, even the HICO payment. Wow. Okay. So these are some resources that you guys can go to report fraudulent activity. So again, the Honolulu Police Department. I understand some of our attendees are from the neighbor islands. So of course we have the Maui Police Department, we have the Hawaii Police Department for the Big Island, and our KPD, which is Kauai Police Department. So yeah, go to your local police department, and then they can process a report and give you a report number. And then of course, Federal Trade Commission they're great for just keeping up with what's going on and also completing the affidavit. Another go-to besides police is also BBB, or Better Business Bureau Northwest Plus Pacific. They also keep up with some trends as well, and they can provide individuals with assistance. So they'll talk about it with you and kind of share with you if they see other things happening as well, because they keep up also with the trends, and it's nice to have a local agency that's also staying on top of the frauds and scams along with the FTC reports. What's good about BBB is that they are in the know, like right now, whereas the FTC report we could only get from the previous year. So they're such a good resource. For our department, we have a tax and charities division, and so that is their number, and of course their website. And another oldie but goodie is Action Line. So they also, they do their part as well, and it's interesting reads if you want to kind of just stay on top of it as well. But my mom, she seems to enjoy reading their articles. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for inviting me to present. This is my information here, and I guess I can open for Q&A. So I will stop sharing right now.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so we'll just wait for some questions to come in the chat, but I have a few questions that I was thinking about during your talk, Angela. And I'll start off with the toughest question for me personally is shame. If I've been scammed and, I feel so shamed. So how do we get over those feelings to take the necessary steps and to tell, you got to tell your family members, but, that's a hard one, I think. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, that's true. So I've come across individuals where they're a good person and they've done well in life and they're very responsible, and yet somehow even they themselves have been frauded, and the embarrassment of coming forward, yet needing the help at the same time. And yeah, it's tough. I think, you know, as hard as it is, it's still good to, I don't know, maybe start off with one person and kind of share on it, or maybe they could talk about it in third person, like, oh, I heard this had happened to so and so, to kind of get a sense of the person that they're talking with. And maybe if they feel, comfortable, then they might open up or not. But that's a hard one because the victim themselves, the person themselves, they're going through you know, the stress and the emotions of just dealing with the situation, and they're so broken. And then, for someone to say something terrible to them would probably bring them down even more. But I think, it just sort of comes with the experience, but it's really worth speaking out and just talking about it to people. I mean, if you don't want to share it with family, maybe just talk to a mutual friend that you don't really see too often. And otherwise, like a lot of the law enforcement folks and even us here at our work, like we're more than happy to talk. But I think the best one, now that I think about it, would be the BBB, because that's what they do. You call them, you let them know what's going on. They're very friendly. I actually work a lot with Lisa Nakao. She's been amazing. When I do presentations and things do come up, I would always go to her. And she would provide input, and I always try my best to get whoever is dealing with a situation to talk with her, because I know she's very nice, she's very kind, she's understanding, and she's not going to say anything terrible, but all she wants to do is help. So sometimes just talking with her, BBB, and then maybe building it from there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough journey, it's a tough road. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. I'm curious as to why we don't have technology to block and catch these scammers, and why we can't implement penalties that would make a scammer think twice about scamming people.
Yeah, it's a challenging thing, you know, as technology is able to do certain protections, the scammers figure out a way to do something else, you know. And so you know, we have so much more to be worried about. Like right now, it's just, you know, online access, you know, and hacking. But, you know, with the introduction of AI,
Yeah.
oh, that's gonna probably make things more challenging. So,
Can you speak about that? Because that was one of my questions, because I've heard AI being used to generate a family member's voice, you know, when they make this imposter call. So have you heard about that happening here in Hawaii?
I don't think we've come across any of those situations yet or cases like that, but I think what we're sort of being cautious of is that with AI, they can get a photo and generate it into more of a like what we see here, each other, all of our faces. It can create a moving sort of 3D kind of image of the person. And then how you speak up the voice, yeah, they're able to mimic the voice even of the person. And I think as they type in the words, the sort of character or figure would speak those words. Um, I haven't seen it being used for any crimes yet, but I'm nervous because it can be very believable. Um, but yeah, I'm just sort of on my toes and just sort of feeling it out.
Yeah.
But if the grandkid scam worked with just a grandchild calling away from college, oh, I need help, I lost my wallet, wire me money. It'll definitely be a lot more believable if they're actually seeing a person speaking to them and talking to them. And you know, right now, at least for me, I'm on this presentation with a big monitor. But if you're looking at the person from a small cell phone, it's even harder to see the, you know, the flaws in the graphics, I guess. So but yeah, I'm really worried about that one actually.
Yeah. So taking that situation a step further, a family member calls, Auntie, I need money, you know, that has happened. And, you know, it kind of sounds believable or whatever the situation is, you know, you think it's a nephew or niece. What should my response be?
So you want to just take the information and let the person know that you'll get back to them, then hang up, and
Excellent.
then go and call the family locally and
Mm,
find out if this information is true.
mm,
So my uncle who lives in California, um, he said he received a call from one of our aunties saying that she needed help. And thankfully, we just had a reunion. And so I had this auntie's phone number from the plannings up until the actual reunion. But my California uncle, he wasn't able to attend. And so he just called me, told me the situation. He was asking, well, does this auntie need help? And so I told him, okay, let me get back to you. But already I knew a red flag because from what I remembered at the reunion, she said she never flew out of state. And the call that he received, the person said that they were somewhere on the mainland. And so I actually contacted her directly and I asked her, oh, are you here on Oahu or are you just, do you happen to be on a trip? And she said, no, she's actually, you know, at work on Oahu. And so then I told her, thank you. And, you know, and then I called my uncle back and I told him, oh yeah, Auntie is actually here on Oahu. That's a fraud. But that was smart of him to at least confirm and reach out to someone who he thinks may know, rather than just, you know, get emotional about it and wanting to just help quickly. But it's hard. It's a hard because that's the way that they play you, you know, into their scam.
yeah. Okay, we have another question in the chat. If you know the scammer, is it worth the effort to go to small claims court? What is the statute of limitations for small claims court?
Okay, I'm actually not too familiar with the small claims court. But I guess it depends on you. If you want to proceed to take it something, make it something further. But I mean, if you know someone is scamming you, you should probably do something about it. Otherwise you're just allowing them to continue to scam you. But I mean, yeah, I actually don't know, but I could probably go and find out, and then maybe I'll share that with Leanne.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll look into that one for you.
Okay. We're coming up to 4:45. Are there any last questions from our group here?
I have a comment. Oh, Miley, go ahead.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, this isn't towards caregivers per se, but I was wondering if you have heard about Aloha Care having a data breach regarding their provider information.
Oh my. Okay, so I didn't know of that. However, if you've been informed that there's been a data breach, you can proceed with getting a police report. Just so that if anything sort of happens down the line, you're sort of prepared for what is to come. Hopefully nothing happens. And then it's up to you if you want to do like a security freeze on your credit account, or if you just want to do a fraud alert. Like you could set up other things knowing that your information had been compromised. But yeah, if they've informed you, then that means that it may have been quite a few people where have been affected by the data breach. So that, ooh, that's a tough one. So Aloha Care. Okay, I'll look into that. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, not
Exactly.
good. Yeah. So I've had a couple of data breaches myself. But yeah, you just go, you get the report done and you just hold on to it. Or you scan it, and for me I scan it and I put it in my computer files. But just, if anything evolves from it later, at least that's already ready to go.
So you can make a police report if you got a notice from them, even though nothing fishy has turned up.
Yeah, you received a notice. If they don't give you a report, then you can always ask for a miscellaneous publication or miscellaneous pub. And that's basically another report in a sense that's documented through police. And then, yeah, just show them the letter. But a lot now our police, they're more prepared and more, they kind of know how to handle those situations. So it's improved a lot since, identity theft first started to occur here in our state. Yeah. I mean, I remember we were just making the laws. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. I know one of the I went to a presentation not too long ago, or did a presentation, and one of the gentlemen had shared that he was getting scammed a lot. And sometimes this fraudster, like he couldn't even, like, one week it might be a small amount of money, another week it might be a huge amount of money. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I can't stop this fraudster. And I was like, it sounds like you know who this fraudster is. And then he said, oh yeah, it's my wife. I was like, oh, that's so terrible.
Oh my.
Terrible. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Sorry, just thought I'd throw that out there. Makes me wonder
Today
if I
I
go to
had
my
an
husband.
interesting experience with with one of our credit card companies. Our credit card suddenly didn't work this afternoon, so I called them. And in their verification process, they said, well, we're going to send you a link, and we need you to do a 5-minute video and then take a picture of your ID and send it to us. And I said, I'm not comfortable doing that. Give me to your supervisor. I had to go 2 supervisors up, and this is a very big, well-known bank, but they actually are asking for that information. And I told them, I said, I'm not going to send that kind of stuff. That sounds like a scam right off from the beginning. And
Yeah.
it's when the credit card company itself has something that sounds that bad, boy, I'm not sure who you can check on.
I'm glad you verified that, because it is very fishy, I know for like making doctor appointments, depending on where you go, they have you scan your ID and your insurance card to make the
Mhm.
appointment. And when it first started to occur, I didn't believe it. So yeah, I ran inside talking to the ladies, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the only way you can make an appointment." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So, but at least you confirm, you verify, and then you still can decide if you want to proceed or not. But so that was very smart of you.
I'm suspicious by nature, and I know at working with all of our clients, I get even more suspicious because there's so many of them have been taken advantage of.
Mhm.
But this is where
The
what's
more,
that phrase people say, if you see something, say something.
oh,
In this world, please do that. If you come across a scam, don't just go, oh, there was this scam. Report it, figure out some way to publicize it so you can protect other people.
Right.
yeah. So I think the questions have winded down in the chat, and Gary says something very profound, is that he's suspicious by nature. So maybe with these calls and texts and emails, we just have to be a little bit more suspicious and, check things out. So Gary, would you like to say any concluding words?
Well, November is the Scam and Fraud Awareness Month. So you'll see lots of resources here and there. Take advantage of them. Go to the website. Angela, do you want to give us your website?
Oh, okay. So it's ag.hawaii.gov/CPJA. Oh, sorry. And then of course /CCP / and then I'll post it here in the
And we'll put it up.
in the chat.
We'll put a direct link to that when we have our newsletter come out. But look there, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. I was just glancing through it. You've got videos, you've got publications that can be downloaded and checklists, really terrific stuff. So, make the effort to go get information and then use it and share it. So please don't get scammed. I hate it when I come and discover that somebody's taken all your money and now I have to get you onto Medicaid. I don't want to do that. I want you to be able to go to nice, fancy retirement homes and spend all your money that way. Don't let a crook get it.
So thank you very much, Angela, for spending the time with us today. You've certainly opened our minds to this topic at this critical time of the year. So thank you very much.
And thank you for
Thank you,
inviting
and
me.
happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy
safe.
Thanksgiving.